Hello and welcome back to another episode of You Want to Do What with Dan and Julie. Today we've got Andrew on, who is a tattoo artist. Hi, Andrew.
Hello.
How are we today?
I'm good. How are you guys?
All good. Andrew, let's jump straight in. Do you want to tell everyone a bit about what you do?
Yeah, sure. I'm a tattoo artist based out of Newmarket, Ontario, Canada. I've been tattooing about 11 years now. And I co-own a shop with three other of my buddies who I've known for a long time. We've had the shop on Main Street for about 4 years now. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the gist of my background at the
moment. So how did you get involved then? How did you get into this world of tattooing?
I've always kind of done and been interested in art since I was really young. I took art throughout high school. I don't really have any post-secondary education. I really kind of fell off the art world after high school because I was just looking for a job. So I ended up doing construction and landscaping and stuff for a while. So I decided, this is it's not really what I want to do. I want to do something in art, and I started getting tattooed. And actually, one of my friends was an apprentice, and she's like, "Hey, why don't you come in one time and you can try tattooing?" I think it was a melon or something.
All right.
So she's like, "Here, put the gloves on and try it out." And as soon as I put the gloves on, I tell you, it was such a cool feeling. Just to even have the gloves on. It's like, okay, so this is it. This is how it's gonna feel. And as soon as I started tattooing that melon, I was like, okay, that's it. I'm like, I have to do this. So I was looking up, how to get apprenticeships or whatever. And it was I don't know, it was a little difficult to do back then, but I just randomly came up this advertisement on Kijiji. And hey, yeah, we're taking apprentices in Toronto at this real sketchy place in Chinatown. And I'm like, okay, well, whatever. I don't really know much about the industry. I guess it's a good place to learn. So yeah, I got the apprenticeship, and it just kind of took off from there. I mean, I started to kind of make more connections, make friends and stuff like that, and travel a little more. And the more people I met and the more traveling I did, kind of helped me get the right connections and kind of got me to where I am now as well.
Yeah. So is there any kind of qualifications you need to become a tattoo artist? You mentioned you did an apprenticeship. Did that come with any sort of qualifications? And as you progress, do you need to hit certain criteria, or is it just as you develop as an artist?
No, it's more so as you develop. You don't have to take, there's no certificate. It's not considered a trade. So you don't need to go to school for it. Basically, you just have to, grind down and practice and make your connections. And, people are pretty ruthless. So I think you'll find out pretty quickly whether or not you're going to make it or not.
How did that apprenticeship work? I'm kind of interested. You rock up one day and they're like, right, here's a melon. And then the next day it's like, right, here's some skin,
No, I went in, and they said to come in and bring some of my artwork. So I did. And I mean, my artwork had had nothing to do with tattooing, right? It did not look like tattoos at all. It was just, paintings and stuff like that. But he obviously he said yes, because you're going to pay him a certain amount per month to use supplies or whatever. So I'm pretty sure they were pretty lax about who was able to take the apprenticeship. I think they just wanted the money because they're kind of scumbags. But yeah, I mean, we were right across the street from a butcher shop. So he would make us go across the street and get bags of pig skin, which is disgusting. It smells so bad, dude. So bad. But I mean, it's the closest thing you can really get to real skin.
So that's what you practice on.
So we practice on pig skin. Yeah. And it was just, oh man, it was so gross. Just slap the slab right on the table and just go to town on it, learn how to stencil and do all that sort of stuff. And then he just, I think it was at least 3 or 4 months after that, started tattooing people, which was
super cool.
Very scary. Yeah.
How was that?
He just wanted money. Yeah. Oh man. Luckily I had one of my good buddies come in.
Yeah.
so I tattooed him, but I'm like, you know what? He's my buddy. It should be okay. As soon as I went to go tattoo skin, like it was like I could not stop shaking. It was like it was so nerve wracking.
No way.
Yeah, it was like that for a while. Like because like you don't really at the time, like when you first start tattooing, you don't really know how different skin types work, how the ink goes into different skin types and different parts of the body. So that's like kind of like an experience thing. It takes a while. Like you can't really learn that unless you have that experience. So it was really difficult for a while, especially doing like small little tattoos, which are very unforgiving, especially when you're shaking like a crazy person.
Yeah. So how did you develop your style? Because we've looked through your Instagram and there's some ones that stand out for me are really cool. The octopus, and you've got the Joker from the recent Joker film, and there's like an old sailing ship on there, and it's a really distinct style.
Yeah, it's that very black and white,
it's
shaded,
really cool,
quite deep sort of thing. Yeah.
How did you develop that?
Actually, you know what? Like the first 4 years probably of tattooing, I did like big color pieces, like all color stuff. I was never really into the black and gray. And then I actually, when the iPad first came out, I ended up buying one, and just the way drawing on an iPad where it's like super digital versus, I mean, you can still be really loose on the iPad, but when you're drawing on paper and stuff, you feel like you have to kind of do a complete finished drawing. But where on the iPad, I kind of started making things a little more simple and straightforward, and started kind of like blocking out the shadows and doing stuff like just straight black, to see how that kind of worked out. And like with the designs I wanted to start doing, it kind of complemented those a lot better. And I love doing the shading and stuff as well, like just keeping it super dark. But it kind of developed, honestly, just from getting the iPad and having like a different sort of tool to work with, kind of brought my style in like a totally different direction.
That is so cool. And
yeah, it worked out pretty nice.
So what's an average day like then for a tattoo artist? What kind of tasks are you doing?
Basically, you come into the shop, like our shop's open for noon. Usually we have people come in noon. So I'll get in there, 10 in the morning, we have our coffees, we'll sweep, mop, get our stuff ready. Like I like to do my drawings the day of, because I find that when people come in and you show them the drawings, it's easier to kind of explain why you've done them a certain way. Whereas like if you send it like a week ahead or a day ahead or something, I feel like they always, they feel the need to change stuff in the drawings. But besides that, yeah, so we get our clients come in, we tattoo probably from like 12 until, whenever the last person's done, which is usually about 8 or 9. But I like to keep my day pretty chill, do like 2 or 3 a day. Unless it's a big one, I'll do like 1 big one a day. I try not to strain myself because I also don't want to like compromise other people's tattoos, especially I'd be like the last person come in at the end of the day and like fucking super tired,
Oh, exactly.
How do you kind of, because sometimes you'll be tattooing for hours, so how do you sort of build up your stamina, I guess? Is that the right word for it?
Yeah. You got to take breaks every once in a while. Your client needs breaks. Especially since like it's very straining on the eyes, especially like when you're using reference, because you're constantly looking at your reference, looking at the tattoo, wiping down, making sure everything is going properly, and it's hard to do that straight. So like I try to do tattoo for an hour, take a 10-minute break, tattoo for another hour, like depending on how big the tattoo is. But some people can sit for a long time, which is cool, but my ass definitely hurts after a while.
So what's the people always ask this, but what is the most painful part of the body to tattoo then?
Oh man, it's so different for everybody, but I'd say like the most common places would be like the ribs, anywhere on like the calf, like close to the back of the knee. Arms are pretty good actually, except for the wrist. The wrist really sucks.
Okay.
But for me, the worst ones were on my like lower knuckles, from like above my fingernail to my first knuckle.
Oh,
like
really?
that was probably like one of the worst pains I've ever felt in my life.
Yeah, because I saw you had you did Peter McKinnon a while back.
Yeah, he was a good friend of mine.
Oh, cool.
We we both live in Newmarket. We've wanted to do that video for a while. I don't know if you saw the video that we did.
I
We've been
haven't seen
talking
the
about
video
doing
yet.
that. Okay, the link is in my bio.
Cool.
It's basically him talking about his tattoos while I'm tattooing about his studio.
Yeah.
It's a pretty funny video actually. But we've been wanting to do that for a while, and it just happened. He was like, "Hey, you free next Thursday? Want to do this video?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Let's do it." So it worked out really nice. And then he came in a couple of weeks later and we did his hand. But
yes,
I did
that's
do
what
all of
made
his
me
knuckles
bring it
as well.
up, because all his knuckles are done. That looks like it must be so painful to do.
It is. It does suck. And he sits really well. Like, he's a champ. But, I mean, it's not the nicest place to get tattooed, that's for sure.
Mm. So, doing this job, how much do you have to sort of go away and get inspiration? Like, where do you draw your inspiration from for your tattoos? I guess people come in with the design, but then how do you begin to formulate that into, okay, this is the tattoo I want to put on this body?
I mean, to get like inspiration, like it does. I mean, having a good idea from somebody is good, like a good base of an idea. When people are like really, really specific, it sounds weird, but it makes it a lot harder to come up with a design, because they're kind of like, depending on how specific they are, it kind of like steers away from like my creative perspective on the drawing. So I try to get people to give me like kind of vague ideas, just a subject matter. But there's definitely times where creativity is definitely like plateaued, and it's one of the things you got to kind of just like fight through. Like, I try to like go for my walks and listen to music and just kind of chill out. And that's kind of how I do my brainstorming. The more relaxed, like if I sit there and think about it, I'm just going to redraw it a million times. And I'm just not going to end up wanting to do the tattoo by the end of it. So, I try to tell people just to give me more vague ideas, or, like I'll sit there and draw a flash page of just stuff that I want to tattoo as well. That's just been sitting in the back of my head.
Oh, that's cool. We've sort of spoken a little bit about styles, but do you ever get people coming in and asking for something that's sort of just out your wheelhouse, and you just like, that's not really what I do?
Yeah. I've had a few people message me. They're like, "Yo, I love your black work, man. Like, just wondering, do you do watercolor?" And I'm like, "What? Are you serious?" But yeah, like I don't, those people, I just will refer them to somebody else who I know will actually do a good job.
Yeah.
But yeah, watercolor is a big one. For some reason, people ask me to do watercolor a lot. I'm like, "Nah, dude, sorry.
No, it's not me.
Not my thing, man."
What would be some personality traits that you think are key for a tattoo artist?
You definitely have to be friendly. I mean, at times, there's times where you can tell people to just fuck right off. Sorry, I don't know if we can swear on this.
You can swear.
Yeah. Okay. It's you got to have a good balance. I was always a really quiet kid, and I was pretty shy. I wasn't very personable. Like, I wasn't good at having conversations, but the more I started tattooing and like talking to my clients, it really helped me build that sort of ability to talk to people and like listen. And it's actually pretty interesting to hear some people's stories. But on the other side of it, there's some real fucking idiots out there. And yeah, you can tell them off, and it's funny because they're like, "Okay, well, let me speak to your boss." And it's like, "Nah, man, it's not how it works. Like, I am the boss." So it's kind of nice that way. I don't like to be that way, but sometimes you kind of have to be that way.
Yeah, of course.
But I'd say for the most part, you got to be good at communicating with people, being on top of, especially these days, your social media game, and just making connections with other artists that are across the world, because you have the means to do that.
I was just about to ask you about.
Good to take advantage of that, for sure.
Social media and how important that is to you now, and the things like Instagram showcasing your work, building a network of people, like you say, other artists. How much of that is really crucial to what you do now?
I mean, if you want to be able to travel and tattoo people like anywhere, like I've made connections, like, cause I go to LA and I tattoo. I've been to New York. I mean, like, because of COVID, I couldn't go. I was supposed to go out to Berlin and stuff like that, Paris. But just messaging people, messaging other artists, following them, and commenting on their work, and kind of building relationships with other shops, I find is really important. And Instagram's definitely made that a lot easier.
Yeah, and it's sort of it's such a tool that everybody can use now, no matter what sort of career they're in. And I think that
it's
goes
great.
for every industry. I mean, like you said you've done a video with Peter McKinnon. I saw. Did you tattoo Chris Howe as well?
I did. Yeah.
So I mean that great opportunities, and then they can repost you on their social, and
exactly.
that's how it works, right?
Yeah, exactly. And the video gave me a lot of traction and a lot of new followers that were from like the photography world, which is what I didn't really have on my page before, So that was cool.
And for you, what would be the biggest positive you get out of being a tattoo artist?
I mean, basically I get to kind of choose my own path and choose kind of where I want my career to go. I'm free to be as creative as I want, and I get to work with a bunch of rad dudes too. So it's, it's not work. It's not a job. It's something I get to wake up and just kind of be happy about. And I never say like I'm going to work. I'm like, hey, yeah, I'm going to the shop. I'm going to do a few tattoos today. It's kind of nice. It's I don't know. It's very I don't know the word I'm looking for, but it's nice.
You get to choose your own life and how you do things. And
exactly.
It's very cool.
Yeah. And if you fuck up, it's your own fault.
Yes.
There's no one else to blame, and sometimes you learn from
that. On the flip side of that, there will be some less favorable aspects of that industry.
What's that? Sorry?
Some negatives of the tattoo industry.
Oh, negatives. It's a tough question. I mean, as far as like, it's hard to say because there could be a negative in kind of everything. Some artists you meet can be a super bummer. Like, you can look up to them for a long time. You actually like meet them in real life. You're like, oh, this guy is not who I thought he was. And, as far as even, like scheduling stuff is pretty complicated sometimes. Like people won't show up to their appointments. They won't let you know. And this whole COVID thing, being in Ontario, we're on our third lockdown now. And, I have like months and months of rescheduling to do. And then when they want to open back up, they tell you like 2 days ahead of time. It's like, okay, I got to like call 3 months worth of people now in a couple of days to reschedule. It's just stuff like that. It's not really like a negative thing. It's just more of like it's the harder side of it, I guess.
Yeah.
And just kind of dealing with that, especially like, cause I don't have an assistant or anything. I do it all myself, all by DMs and stuff. Cause I find that that's just the best way to do it. But yeah, I mean, there's definitely more positives than negatives to tattooing. That's for sure.
So we always like to talk about average salaries in any industry we talk about. And what we do is we go away and we find some data and we just see if you agree with the average figure for the industry. So we found some Canadian figures. So apparently the average for a tattoo artist in Canada is around $39,000 Canadian, which is for the UK listeners around £22,000. Does that sound about right to you?
I guess because I feel like most of the artists in Canada are working for somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
So when they work for somebody else, they give a percentage, like a split.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was working at other shops for other people, my percentage was like I was giving them 40%.
40%. Wow.
Which is a lot, right? I mean, especially when I was getting my own clients. Like we were all doing that at the shop before Main Street. Which is why I decided, like, hey guys, let's open up our own shop because we can do it as a collective. So I feel like most of the people who are working for other people will have a lower income, whereas like the four of us, we split everything 4 ways. We make 100% of our tattoos, and we're all separate businesses, and we run our own business. We can tattoo when we want. We can tattoo as much as we want or as little as we want, as long as the monthly bills get paid. Then it's easy, and like the overhead is super low.
Wow.
When we do it this way. So I'd say like we make well above that average figure, but it sounds about right because most people don't do they don't have a collective the way we do.
When you started up your shop with you and your friends, did you did you sort of have a plan of how you guys wanted to tattoo and cover like different bases? I know we've spoken a little bit about styles. It's something, so I'm kind of interested in how did you sort of just all have your own style, or do you sort of overlap slightly?
I mean, kind of like we kind of have our own things going on, and we didn't like plan it that way. Just it kind of worked out that it just happened to be the four of us could do like different things, you know, where like I just do mainly black, like LeBlanc and Brownless and Baker at the shop, they could do color, you know, and that's who I'd send people to if they asked for color tattoos. We all do like portrait stuff. We can all do black and gray. So we're pretty, I'd say the other three are way more versatile than I am, to be honest. But yeah, it just happened to be, that's just how it worked out.
So, you know, when you're doing this and you're building your portfolio of clients, is that a crucial thing in the game to get some really loyal clients that come back time and time again?
Yeah, it is for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It is. And that all comes back around with, you know, being personable and, you know, being a friendly shop, because people definitely like to be comfortable, and we're all a bunch of nice guys. And I think we've all been tattooing over 10 years. I think LeBlanc's been tattooing 16 plus years. So like we've definitely built up a lot of clientele since then. And we've pretty much been in the area. So yeah, it's just, you know, years and years of friendships and building clientele. And then they tell their friends, like, even though Instagram is a good tool, I feel like it's a good tool to show people who have never seen your art to see your art for the first time. But word of mouth is one of the biggest things, especially when you have clients that continue to come back. Other people see their artwork and they're like, oh, where'd you get that done? And then they tell them. And I always ask my clients when they come in, like, how did you hear about, you know, the shop, or how did you hear about me? And most of the time it's word of mouth, to be honest.
Wow.
Yeah. And for you, would you still go into this industry knowing everything you know now?
Yes and no. I mean, no. if I had known the first few years what I had to like go through, and like all the bullshit, like how hard it was to start, maybe not. If I could like skip ahead, then yes. But no, it was all a cool learning experience, and I'm glad I didn't really know what was coming up next, because I kind of just went with the flow. Like, okay, whatever happens, kind of happens. But yeah, you know, it's been great. So yes, I'd say yes, I would still do it.
Well, listen, thank you so much for coming on, Andrew. It's been really interesting to hear about what you do. Oh, pleasure.
Yeah, it's fun.
Thank you, Andrew. Where can people find you? Ever. Oh, brilliant. Where can people find you and your art and your shop?
You can find me Andrew Wilson Art on Instagram. The shop is Main Street Tattoo Company, and yeah, everybody else who works at the shop is listed in the bio as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so much.